My name is Ndeye Awa Nguissaly Koite, and it is with a great pleasure and honor to be here today in Maxim TV. At first and at second to share the broadcast with my friend, my classmate, Monsieur Samb. He is an alumni of ISM, and for time being, he is English intervener in Nojeda ING. I think that he will be better in is to present himself, so I'm going to give him the floor. Hello, Mr. Sam.
Hello. Okay, so hello dear viewers of Marketing TV Monde. Well, it's a big pleasure and honor for me to stand before you today and as usual to talk about a very essential topic. But before we going any further, I would like to introduce myself first. So my name is Seydina Mohamed Laye Samb. I am an alumni, as just said, in ISM, International School of Management, where I was following Bachelor in Business Administration. But at the same time, I was an English intervener in Nojeda, Université Nationale pour le Développement de l'Afrique, where I was training English to professionals and people that had the desire to learn English. But now I think we're going to talk about a very essential topic, so I would like to give her the floor to tell it what it is exactly.
So today we are going to talk about business communication. But before talking about the topic, I'm just going to tell something. Mr. Samb is the way he masterized the language of English is phenomenal. And I used to tell him that he is my teacher, and I tell it today. So before talking about the topic, so we are going to notice something. There is a fact. The broadcast used to be in French. So today we are going to talk about in English. English, the key language. So, Mr. Sam, can you tell me the importance of this language?
Alright, I think that it's a pleasure for me to talk about the importance of the English language. First, for many reasons. The first one is sometimes I am called to deliver some English courses, but the first thing I specify is that people have to know that what is most important is to understand that we don't say English. Okay, I'm talking to viewers. You have to say English. If you want me to teach you English, so you have first to know that English does not exist. The word is English, right? So it was a parenthesis, right? A bracket. But the importance of English is, let's say I would like to reformulate by saying that English is no longer important, but it has become indispensable. Like nowadays in our daily lives, wherever you go, wherever you are involved in whatever it might be, you need that English language. Maybe in the business that you're getting involved, in your family, even communicating, whenever you want to travel, to go wherever you want in the worldwide speaks English. Now English has become what we call the universal or the international language. What does it mean? It means that, for example, whenever I am Senegalese and I want to communicate with French, it means that my language is Wolof and his language is French. Now, the language that you have to use by force, compulsorily, is English. Now, this is what we call international language. So whenever you are a student, you a professional, whatever you might be, you have to master that English language. I think this is the importance of the English language that I just wanted to highlight to sum it up. Thank you.
So, if we can take it to one expression, we cannot go so far without English nowadays. We cannot do something without knowing a lot of things without English. So, Mr. Sam, thank you for answering. So, we are going to struggle with the definition of business communication. What is really business communication?
Alright. So, I think the topic of today is very essential because whenever we talk about business communication, there are a lot of people that are in public universities following English. They have got their master degrees and so on, even their PhD, without knowing what business communication is. Because sometimes we're learning academic English, not sometimes also you can be in some business schools learning business English without even knowing the real definition of business communication. I think therefore to define this concept, we need now to define first what business is, what communication is, in order to link them to know what business communication is exactly. So now the first word is business. So when we talk about business, this is an occupation where you are occupied in order to have what we call the profitability, right? To make profit, what we call business. Okay, so you get involved, you get engaged in, and every time you indulging your activities. So now when we talk about communication, communication is, I would like to quote John Maxwell. John Maxwell used to say, I quote him, that communication is the fact of using the right word, delivering the right message to the right person, right? So I think this is just the way now to link it between them, to say that business communication is nothing but the fact of communicating in the world of companies, in the world of business.
Great. It is not for nothing that I tell that he is my teacher. I'm really impressed when we talk in English. So now I'm confused sometimes when we talk about business communication, business English. I don't know how to define them both. So can you give me the difference between business English and business communication?
Definitely. I can remember one day I was discussing with a friend of mine. We were sharing the same class, and we had to deal with what we call our English contest, our English exams. Sorry. So during that exams, we had to deal with what we call business English. And he was asking me to know what is the difference between business English and business communication. Because sometimes you have the same teacher for both and you cannot make the difference between them. But I think right now we're going to make the difference between business English and business communication. Okay, so when we talk about business English, you know, English is a language, right? The English language. But when we talk about business English, it means that this is a very specific branch of English. Like the English which is directly related to the world of business, the world of companies, when you're in the enterprises, when you're in non-governmental organization, when you're working in whatever organization that might be, the world, the business, and the English that you exactly use in order to well manage your business, your organization, this is called business English. But now when we talk about communication, communication is going to go straight away, meaning the fact of communicating where in the organization. And now that communication is very large. You can have different types of communication, but the fact of communication in an organization, this is called business communication. Now business English is that English used in the organization. I think this is the difference between those two concepts.
Okay, can I get in mind that we cannot nowadays we cannot go in enterprise without masterizing the business communication? Is it a question?
Yeah, I think not nowadays we cannot go because it's not every company that speak English. But the phenomenon is nowadays we're talking about a lot of companies that exist in maybe one country, and whenever they develop their activities, they want to highlight and to go any further. Now to go in other countries, and therefore the English is going to be overshadowed, meaning you're going to use English by force.
Right.
Now without that business English, it means that you can't be employed over there, you can't be hired. So whenever you want to be an employee, whenever you want, that English is the language that is to be used, and you don't master the business English, it means that you're not able to work there. And now I have noticed a phenomenon that in every job interview you go, people, they ask you if you master English because they need that English in their business if they want to go further. I think that was the point that I wanted to highlight. It's not like indispensable to master English to work, but it is very important to master it to work.
So we can take the example of ING. We know that they prefer to have like employees, the people who are able to masterize the language of English. So you are the example. So can you tell to younger the real importance of English in enterprise?
Yeah, I think the real importance, now we can notice that there are a lot of enterprises, but people that are most focused and people that are wealthy, I think what they're doing now is to get involved in NGOs, non-governmental organizations, because those organizations, they're paying well. But whenever you want to enter in those kind of organizations, you have to master the English language. For example, when I take the example of Najada, you take the example of Oxfam, you take the example of Plan, those kind of organizations, you cannot get there and to have what we call a higher positions without mastering this English language. So English, to summarize, is just a key now to work and to have a very good job career. I think this is what people should master now.
So, dear viewer, if you wanted to be employed in ING and you want your book of Mali, so try to masterize the language English. So, Mr. Samb, we see that people are not communicating at the same way. So, is any type of communication?
Yes, I think this is a very important question, because sometimes a lot of people are talking about communication without even knowing what communication is, and now also the difference between types of communication. But before talking about the types of communication, I would like to talk about first the source of communication, meaning where communication comes from. So the notion of communication, philosophically, we can have a source, but and also when you talk about the religion, this is the source. Now talking about first philosophy, when we talk about philosophy and history, the source of communication, they say that whenever we were born here on Earth, in this universe, what we have noticed is people used to communicate, but they did not have language. But they used to communicate with gestures, using their hands, making some signs to make everyone understand each other.
Yeah.
But now this kind of communication is surrounded. People talk about new types of communication. But the second source is about religion. When we talk about Christians, and what we have noticed with the Bible, is that they tell us that everyone has been created in the world with communication.
Yeah.
When we also talk about Muslims with Islam, we say that everything has been created with God by using this famous formula, meaning kun, which means be, fayakun, and the word words. It means that everything has been created with communication in life. But now when we talk about communication, those types of communication, we have two types of communication. We have non-verbal communication and verbal communication.
Yeah.
When we talk about non-verbal communication, sometimes I can set my eyes on you, looking at you, and you understand what I would like to say.
Yeah.
Alright, and this is a means of communication. Whenever I'm communicating by using my hands, I am communicating. I'm communicating by illustrations, by using my gestures, what we call gesture. But also we can have another kind of communication, we can say verbal, like what I am doing right now, using some words and the right words to make people understand what I would like to say.
Yeah.
But I would like maybe to go deeply to details, meaning talking about first non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is about gestures. Gestures like handshake. Handshake is like this. We can also take the example of kisses, like head honcho, and so on. There are a lot of kind of examples that we might use in order to explain non-verbal communication. But now verbal communication also, we can use the words. You can use speeches. Sometimes presidents are in front of people, citizens, and they need to communicate by writing a speech that they have to deliver to the whole world. I think this is these types of communication that people have to understand, and I think it's very important. Communication is very indispensable, but not everyone can communicate as they want.
So, always talking about non-verbal communication. Can we say that when I'm crossing my hand, it is a type of communication, this?
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
Alright, but what is the, what we have to avoid, or the risk? There is a risk in non-verbal communication. This is what we call the risk of interpretation.
Yeah.
Because whenever you use non-verbal communication, you communicate. And you know what you would like to let people know. But unfortunately, people can have different types of interpretation.
Yeah.
When you use this sign, some people related to their culture, to their tradition, or to their belief, they might think that you're insulting them. Another one might think that you're greeting them. Another one might think something else. Meaning there is a very big risk that you're taking whenever you use only non-verbal communication. But now the best way to communicate is to mingle, is to have to melange both of them, meaning to use non-verbal and verbal at the same time.
Yeah.
Because verbal to express and non-verbal to give example to people that are listening to you.
Great. I think that I understand, and people who are listening to us understand too.
Yeah.
So now we are going just to talk about the importance of communication in the area of enterprise.
Alright. Okay, so communication is essential in the worldwide. But now let's go deeply to the enterprise. Meaning to the enterprise, there is what we call a kind of branches, and people, they are working in an organization following their ranks, because you can have the leaders and those people that are following the orders coming from leaders. Okay, all right. So when we talk about now the the companies, sometimes you have the CEO, meaning the chief executive officer. You can also have the human resource manager. Those people are the key people. Whenever an enterprise wants to move forward, those people should be good at communication. You know, the first quality of a leader is vision. Now the second is communication. Meaning those two leaders, whenever they want to make employees work and to have a kind of profitability, still they need to communicate. But how to communicate very well? Now how? Communication during their meetings. Their meetings, they might use words and the right words in order to persecute, in order to let them, to convince the people, because convincing is very important.
Yeah.
Sometimes leaders make decisions, but making decision is easy. But the fact of making your employees follow your decision is about communication. It means that communication in the enterprise is important to avoid conflicts. Conflicts, why? Because whenever you make a decision and people, they are not agreed on what you've made, it means that they will not follow you.
Yeah.
And if they do not follow you, what is the result? The result is negative. This is that every time the employees are going on strike because they don't want to work. Why? Because they are not agreed on your decision. It means that people should be good at making decisions first, but also communicating in order to convince employees follow that decision, and which is very important. Now, the second importance about communication in companies is that communication in companies should be learned. It's not something that people, they just say like they're talking whenever you want.
Yeah.
This is a knowledge, a know-how that people should have. Like there is a way of sending email. It's not because I have my wife in the company that I have to inform her first before I inform as employees. Communication should be on the right time, at the same time, and at the same way.
Great.
In order to make to avoid making discrimination between employees. And this is something that we learn in greatest business schools.
Great. So, a while back, I heard you talk about leader and manager.
Yeah.
We're both alumni of ISM, and we all know that we cannot do ISM International School of Management without learning about leader and manager. Can you tell me the difference between a leader and a manager?
I think this is a very extraordinary question that people are trying to answer, but since now sometimes people did not understand. That's why I would not like to give very big concept to make people be confused, right?
Yeah.
Just to give some slight
simple
differences. When we talk about a leader, leadership does not depend on a training. The first quality of a leader is this is innate. Like you were born with that leadership astuces, the leadership traits. Now, when you talk about management is a science. Management, you have to learn it. But leadership is not something that you learn. Have you ever heard great schools of leadership? No, but great schools of managers, because we need managers. But before managers come, there is what we call leader, because the leader create an enterprise and recruit some managers to well manage that organization. Now, just to give you an quote of a very good writer, and that also is called John Quincy Adams. He just used to say that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. It means that when you talk about a leader, he is inspiring in order to make a dream come true. But the first difference and the most important that I would like to give you is a leader is someone who is doing right things. But a manager is someone who is doing things right.
Things right.
I repeat. A leader is someone who is doing right things. But a manager is someone who is doing things right.
Things right.
Yeah, I think
so
that
just get it in mind. A leader is someone who is doing right things. And a manager things right.
Yeah, things
great.
Right.
So I noticed something, Mr. Samb.
Yeah.
So we know today if you're not able to talk in English, you are knocked out in second person.
Definitely.
So it is indispensable for now.
Yeah.
So can you tell more about it?
Yeah, I used to have a teacher when I was in high school, and the lad has one day told me something that has really let's say pulled my attention. And that thing is nothing but in life you have these two words: adopt and adapt. Adopt and adapt. So now when you are not able to adapt, meaning to create, to invent, you have to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
Meaning to adapt in situation. Meaning in some centuries ago, people, they did not need by force English. But now in our current life, we need English. So when you are conscious, you are aware of that fact, it means that now the second thing to do is to adapt.
Yeah.
To adapt how? You know, the best way to learn English is to practice. I have a lot of friends that have done a lot of English courses. They have got their degrees, but till now they are not able to speak English, to express themselves in English. Meaning, because as the saying goes, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
Practice makes perfect. If you do not practice, you won't go. And I will end with this question by a quote of Mahatma Gandhi. And the latter used to say that whenever you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you determine to learn, no one can stop you. So now the key is determination. That's it. Thank you.
An example, because when I was in high school, in second, I was not able to express myself in English.
Yeah.
But now that I'm trying, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, that's it, sure.
But I'm just trying, just to mean that, tell people that it is practice who really make perfect. It is the key, something that you have to have in mind.
That's it.
So we are going to talk about some we are going to some style people, some style youngers, some style people who are listening us, and to our dear viewers, the importance of English.
Yeah, sensitize them, meaning you know, we now living in a world which is very, very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And what is the risk is, you know, family, meaning in days gone by, in the past, that competition was just in your area.
Yeah.
Meaning whenever you Senegalese, you competing between Senegalese people.
Yeah.
Whenever you living in South Africa, you just competing with South African people. But now in the world of globalization, whenever you're a student, you're a professional, you whatever you might be, you're competing with the worldwide. There are even some Senegalese students that leave their country to go abroad, like to learn, and if they come back, they will be your direct competitors. Yeah. Meaning, if you're living in a world of higher competition, you need to have a lot of lucks, meaning to make the luck on your side. How? By mastering IT, right? New technologies, by mastering the English language. Whenever you know that you will need this by force in your job career, go get it. Life is not complicated. If you want something, go get it. But the fact of going to get something, there is a way.
But sometimes it is not as simple like this.
It's not as simple. That's why I say that there is a way. Now the way, it requires means, financial means. It requires also time. You have some time to make sacrifices. As the saying goes, sacrifice is never lost. And if you want something, you need to sacrifice something else in order to get that thing. Sacrifice your time. You know, the time that you're wasting taking tea every time, that time should be costed. You can use that time in order to buy books. You know, but sometimes people, they want to speak English, but if you tell them to buy a book, and they say this is very expensive. And Barack Obama used to say, if you think education is too expensive, wait until you see how much ignorance costs. And I think this is the way to push people, to argue them to go and learn English. Now, even our great fathers, our elders, they recognize that they need English. Yeah. Sometimes there are some professionals that call me in order to invite me to teach them English. But even if they want, they don't have time. Yeah, because they are every time busy. But you young people, you have the time right now. And this is the right time for you to learn English. And I think that by the time maybe next month or next year, you're going to speak English. And this is not impossible.
Next month, next year?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, I think. I have learned English by 3 months.
3 months? For real?
3 months of holidays.
I think that it was about 1 year.
Yeah. That's it.
It is not like simple.
It depends on your determination.
When you talk about financial, the aspect financial, do you think that it is so important than that, so as to be able to talk in English?
No, not financial in order to give a lot of finance. Yeah. No, you know, I give you one example. Whenever you're my friend and you call me in order to teach you English, if you know that you're not paying nothing, you're not paying anything, there you want to make a lot of efforts. But when you take your money and you pay a professor to teach you English, you'll make a lot of efforts because you know that you've put your money over there, right? You won't accept to lose your time and to lose your money. Okay. That's why sometimes you need to sacrifice your time, sacrifice your money, sacrifice even some friends between brackets, right? This is sometimes needed to have it. And it's not only about English. This is life. In life, whenever you need something, you have to give the price in order to have that thing. And that price is not only money. It can be your time, it can be your friends, it can be boyfriends or girlfriends, it can be whatever. Right, that's it. You see, this is the truth, and people should understand it very well.
So, Mr. Samb,
yeah,
I think that we are at the end of our broadcast.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell something, and words, so as to make it done?
Alright, so about my last words, I think I just would like to tell to our dear viewers of Marketing TV Monde that this is a very precious time of your life. If you're younger, know that youth is a very short stage of life. And this is a very precious time that you have to learn. Learn whatever. And the secret of life nowadays is what you learn today, try and learn something else tomorrow. Because knowledge is very large. And it does not belong to anyone. Knowledge does not belong to your practices. Knowledge does not belong to anyone. Knowledge belongs to everybody. It depends on the time that you put in, that you're finding to learn whatever. Whatever you want to learn, you can master it, right? I think that Bill Jobs is not better than you. Steve Jobs is not, Bill Gates, is not better than you. Steve Jobs is not better than you, and so on and so forth. If you want to be successful in your life, trying to find what we call the means. Means can be English, can be IT, can be whatever, and try and do it, right? So I would like to give a special thanks to you first for the invitation, and also to give a special thanks to our dear viewers that are following this broadcast online, which is an innovation. I think this is kind of innovation that people should do in order to make knowledge go faster, go broader, and go larger. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.
So thank you, Mr. Samb. Thank you to our dear teacher, to Mr. Laye Bamba, to have given us the opportunity, the honor and privilege to be here to us to express ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you.